Picture yourself sitting at your own birthday dinner. The candles are lit, the song starts, and suddenly every face in the room turns toward you. Instantly, your body goes cold. Heat rushes into your cheeks, a quiet ringing starts, and your muscles completely freeze. Many people spend years assuming this physical reaction is a form of clinical social anxiety, a psychological weakness they just need to push through to be polite. But this reaction often has less to do with fearing the people in the room and more to do with the sheer volume of data they represent. For a highly sensitive nervous system, concentrated attention isn't just an emotion, it functions as raw physical input. Your brain's primary job is to scan the environment to keep you safe. When a dozen people lock eyes on you at once, that scanning system registers the sudden spike in scrutiny as a very high-stakes moment of exposure. It doesn't ask who is watching. It simply registers that you are being watched, and you cannot afford to get the response wrong. The urge to disappear through the floor isn't a sign of ingratitude. It is the result of your body actively defending itself against what it biologically perceives as an environmental threat. This reaction is driven by a neurological trait called sensory processing sensitivity. It isn't a disorder or a diagnosis, but a specific brain configuration shared by roughly 20% of the population. A brain with this trait acts like a fine mesh filter. Where other people's nervous systems might block out background details, a sensitive brain captures and processes the flicker of an expression, a shift in posture, or the slight pause before laughter. We can visualize this capacity using a cup. A highly sensitive brain isn't smaller or weaker, but it does have a much finer filter at the top, taking in significantly more information per second. When you are the center of attention, the sensory input doesn't just increase, it compounds. It is the cognitive equivalent of someone pouring from multiple pitchers into the cup at the exact same time. The cup overflows because the volume is simply too high for the filter to handle. The resulting mental overwhelm is a physical reality, not an emotional choice. For an introvert with this wiring, being the center of attention isn't just a moment you experience, it's a job you are performing. It turns a celebration into a high-intensity processing marathon. At a regular party, you can drift to the room's edge or take a break, but milestone events like weddings or baby showers are different. You are the reason everyone is there, meaning there are no exits from the spotlight. These moments carry a heavy layer of emotional expectation. Because the occasion is supposed to be joyful, you feel immense internal pressure to match the warmth and excitement everyone is projecting toward you. To manage this, many people resort to masking. You hold a smile longer than feels natural and force yourself to maintain eye contact, ensuring loved ones don't realize you are struggling with this sensory weight of the room. In these moments, your brain is actually running 3 simultaneous processes: managing the sensory overload, performing the expected joy, and monitoring your own behavior to protect the guest's feelings. When the event finally ends and you close the front door, the exhaustion hits in a hollow, specific way. This is the introvert hangover, and it's often followed by a wave of guilt for being relieved that the happy occasion is finally over. This exhaustion isn't a character flaw. It is the metabolic bill for sustaining a high-stakes emotional performance while your internal system was pushed past its capacity. Telling a highly sensitive person to just relax is like telling the smoke alarm to calm down because the toast isn't actually on fire. The alarm isn't being dramatic. It's doing exactly what it was built to do when it detects specific input. The core problem isn't your mindset. It's a format mismatch. Traditional celebrations were designed for a different kind of nervous system, one that finds visibility energizing rather than draining. You can navigate this by using clear, honest phrases before an event is even planned. Simply telling a loved one, "I'm so grateful for this, but I do better with low-key settings," can reshape a massive party into a quiet dinner. Setting these boundaries isn't an act of social withdrawal. It's an act of honesty that allows you to show up as your real self rather than a masked version. When you ask for a smaller celebration, you are teaching the people who love you exactly how to reach you. You are showing them the specific format in which you can actually receive their affection. If you are already in the middle of an unavoidable spotlight, find one anchor person. Focusing on a single, familiar face gives your nervous system a safe signal to lock onto, making the rest of the room feel less like an exposure threat. You can also use physical grounding to quiet the system. Focus on the cold temperature of a glass in your hand or the pressure of your feet against the floor. These micro redirects pull a small piece of your attention away from scanning faces and give the brain a neutral input to hold onto. Try a deliberate internal reframe. When you feel the pressure of the spotlight, remind yourself, these people didn't show up to scrutinize me. They showed up for me. It won't stop the sensory overload, but it can take the edge off the feeling of danger. You were built for depth, not spectacle. Needing quiet recovery after being celebrated isn't a sign that you did something wrong. It's a sign that you worked hard. Give yourself the space to come back to baseline without the weight of guilt.